Welcome to Hanging at the Hangar Bar. I'm Scott.
I'm Candace.
I'm Lariah.
And I'm Lacey. Grab a drink and come hang with us at the Hangar Bar.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Hanging at the Hangar Bar. Today we are going to be talking about all things Hollywood Studios. But before we jump into that, we just want to direct you to our Instagram page, which has the handle Hanging at the Hangar Bar. You can check us out by just typing that into the search bar, or if you go to our Anchor website, you can get to our Instagram page from there. So check us out. We post pictures from each episode and the things that we're talking about. Just interact with us there. Let us know what questions you have, the things that you want us to talk about, the things that you want us to try and drink so we can talk about Disney drinks. Whatever you want us to deal with and talk about, interact with us. We really want to have you interacting with us and engaging with us on our podcast. This is all for you and for us to have this conversation. So, Hollywood Studios. I know we have some strong opinions about Hollywood Studios, but I'm going to ask everybody first to go around the table and tell us what your favorite thing about Hollywood Studios is. You have to have something that's a favorite thing in Hollywood Studios. Let's start it off on the positive.
Well, I really, really love Hollywood Studios, mainly because I just love the 50s. Like, I love that style. And so it was very, very cool getting to walk down Hollywood Boulevard. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just seeing the different, like, buildings and the structure. And it was just very, very pleasing to the eye. Very pretty.
Agreed. The main part of Hollywood Studios is that flashback to the
Old
Hollywood, which is just awesome. From restaurants to storefronts to all of that is just old Hollywood before you break out into different sections. And I will say my favorite thing, and Candace just rolled her eyes, so she's probably going to roll her eyes even harder when I say what my favorite thing is, Toy Story Land.
Yeah.
As you walk into Toy Story Land, you are instantly converted to be 2 foot tall. 6 inches tall. You're the size of a toy. Everything around you, you're the same size as the army men that are playing the drums. You are looking up at Slinky Dog and seeing how big he is compared to you are. How big you are. I'm struggling with English. That whole immersive experience. And my favorite ride in Hollywood Studios is in Toy Story Land. And you might be thinking, oh, it's Slinky Dog Dash. No, my favorite ride in Hollywood Studios is Midway Mania. That ride is so much fun, where you just have the little popper gun where you're just pulling on the string and shooting different things at the screen. That ride absolutely does it for me. I love it.
The queue for that one is amazing too.
Yeah.
How you go into the cardboard boxes and you're like working your way through, and then there's Potato Head sitting right there talking to you, and the great big Viewmaster reels.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yeah, on that ride, it was so funny because Lacey and I, that was our first time going on that ride, and Scott was just like, we have to go on this ride. Like, we have to. And Lacey and I were like, oh yeah, cool, we can go. And,
didn't we have fast passes that day?
Not for that one.
No.
Not for that one? Okay.
But, we were both really confused because it looks just like a chill gaming ride, like Buzz Lightyear Space Adventure. And so we saw that there were harnesses on this ride, or a bar or something like that.
There's
to
like
strap
a
you in.
belt or a strap. Yeah.
And we were like, okay, whatever. And so we were like, this is so weird. And then we took off, and it was like jerking us, and we were like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it
now
really
we know.
swings you around the corners. So we're like, oh, good thing we have these seat belts.
It was funny because, we were like, okay, well, now we know.
Yeah.
Again, we mentioned it in the last episode. If Disney thinks you're going to be unsafe, they will strap you in.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is just the music. I can remember it perfectly, and I love the music going down Hollywood Boulevard, and it's nice. It is very on brand with the Hollywood Studios theme.
My favorite part of that park would probably have to be the whole Muppet area with Muppet Vision 3D and Pizza Rizzo, although that restaurant is not a have to do it all for me. I can walk right by it, other than maybe to get some ice water. Yeah, I just love that area of the park because it's so different.
And the Miss Piggy fountain is pretty cute.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so what else do we want to talk about with Hollywood Studios? There's so much there. Let's go sort of, now that we've talked about our favorite part, let's go kind of macro down into the micro. Let's start. What do we think of the theming? We've mentioned the old Hollywood feel, but they're kind of branching out, and it's almost stretching for Hollywood Studios because they're building the immersive lands like Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge, and that's really all they have planned right now. But they're, instead of theming it like it's a movie, they're actually putting you in the movies. What do we think of that?
Well, the first time I was actually in that park, it was still Disney MGM Studios. And there was a lot more of the old Hollywood feel. Like, you got to take a backlot tour and see like the facade of the Golden Girls house was back on the backlot. And then there was like Catastrophe Canyon, where they did like an earthquake and a waterfall and a truck and a fire and all kinds of cool stuff. And then you actually got to kind of roll through part of the Disney costuming shop, which I loved. With the change since, and of course the Great Movie Ride, which was where Minnie and Mickey's Runaway Railway now sits in the Chinese theater. With that said, since MGM ended their association with Disney and the contracts expired on the park, I feel like, to me, Hollywood Studios does not know what it wants to be. It's trying to be too much to too many people, rather than, okay, we're going to give you the experience of what it was like in old Hollywood. And I understand some of that is with the diversity and inclusion piece of it, because we're not going to get into that history lesson. But there's that. But it just seems like there's so many different facets to it that it's all just kind of a jumbled mess to me. And like we were talking about Galaxy's Edge, they've now released the pricing for the Star Wars hotel, and it's like a 2-day experience where you get to stay for 2 days, and it's like completely immersive. So like there's food and all kinds of stuff included, but the prices on that for 2 days, you could go on a cruise for, and a Disney cruise at that.
For a week.
So, and I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. Mm-hmm. I mean, the original 3 are like my ride or dies because I was little when those came out, so they're classics. But the rest of this, again, it's overhyped, and I have a big problem with things that get overhyped. So I liked the park itself a lot better when it was just MGM Studios. I think it had a much more strong identity of self. It's a good park, but it's my least favorite of the 4.
I agree with you, Candace, on where the theming is just really odd in that park. I was pleasantly surprised with Hollywood Studios. I think that Galaxy's Edge is cool. I think Toy Story Land is cool. And then I think, everything else in Hollywood Studios is really neat. Like where Tower of Terror is and Rock and Roller Coaster. But I do find it to be a little odd that they put Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land in Hollywood Studios, and how I could be wrong. No, I'm not. Well, the only other park that really did something like that, which we will get into, but Pandora in Animal Kingdom, which I think it isn't as oddly placed in Animal Kingdom because it's very, Animal Kingdom is naturistic and all of that, which so is Pandora. But yeah, I know what you mean about how the theming is just, it's not quite there. And I feel like you said, they're trying to do other things within Hollywood Studios and it just doesn't make sense. Even though I love Galaxy's Edge and I love Toy Story Land, I think they're really cool. It's cool to just immerse yourself into a movie like Scott, did you say that, where you're actually
Mhm.
like in it? And I think that's cool, but it's odd.
Yeah, agreed. I think the way you described that, Candace, was perfect in that it doesn't know what it wants to be. Doesn't want to be a park where you're on set or you're a part of the movie, or does it want to be a look into how Hollywood works? And I think for those of us that kind of grew up with idolizing Hollywood and some of the things that were happening there, you look for that connection, and they're losing that connection. Like the Chinese theater now has Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Looks like it was opened right after we left the 2019 trip, but that ride looks phenomenal, and I want to go on it. And I've heard people say that that's actually better than Rise of the Resistance, just in terms of overall experience. So I want to do that. But again, is that really the place for it? Like, what makes that fit in the Chinese theater? Or is it just a way to get Mickey into the park?
Right, which Mickey and Minnie don't have really an attraction anywhere else in Disney World that's devoted to them other than maybe Mickey's PhilharMagic. But you see him for like that long.
Yeah, and that's a Donald attraction.
Yeah, of that presentation. So they don't have an attraction. And of course they deserve one because, hello, it all started with a mouse.
Right.
Or two. And so they deserve it. But to your point, I could see that better over in Magic Kingdom. Just from a timeline perspective. Because, I mean, without Mickey and Minnie, there would be no Disneyland. There would be no Magic Kingdom to begin with. So I don't know. I agree. It looks like a really cool ride, and I'm not going to knock it. I haven't been on it yet. I want to be. But the Great Movie Ride was a hard pill to swallow when they shut that down.
Okay, let's talk about rides at Hollywood Studios. Do we just kind of want to go around and say what our experience is with all the different rides? So if I'm trying to think of the map. So Candace is the map. She may have to help me out. But let's start with our walk down Hollywood Boulevard back to that back corner. And start with, have you, Lacey and Lariah, been on Rock and Roller Coaster?
Yep.
Yes.
What was your experience on that ride? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Was it just okay?
Well, that one was one of our ones where it was a spur of the moment thing. And Candace, you didn't go to the parks with us that morning.
That morning, right.
Yeah, and so Scott was like, can you get us some fast passes? And you were like, clink, done. And so we got fast passes, and that was really cool. Because I didn't even know that ride existed, which should get more hype, to be honest, because that one is by far, I think that one is my favorite roller coaster. I had so much fun. That one surprised me pleasantly.
The only roller coaster at Disney that goes upside down.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I like that.
And it's Aerosmith. How can you go wrong with Aerosmith?
Exactly.
It was fun. I liked it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite roller coasters too. I love Aerosmith. The story where they line you up in the recording booth and you're watching them, or it's almost like you're in the recording booth and then they start talking to you like, hey, come to the concert with us, and they're annoying their publisher, and it just is fun. It's a fun ride. I don't know that it's a must do, but I want to go on it every time. Okay, so we won't talk about Candace's experience. She's never been on that ride, but she did have an experience that we won't talk about outside of that ride for people that maybe have squeamish stomachs.
No.
She met Ralph outside that room.
But
Somebody
it
else
wasn't
met
me.
Ralph
Someone else met their good friend Ralph.
outside that ride right after they got off of it.
What a fun.
And
It
so
was an
she-
adventure.
but you did get to learn some interesting Disney thing. What did they call? What was the code they called?
Oh, I can't remember.
You have to think about it.
Yeah.
Disney has a code word for vomit.
And other bodily functions.
Right. So they call that code, and people come running to clean it up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
But we don't need to talk
We
about
won't-
Ralph anymore.
We won't.
Please.
We won't dwell on
Get a
that.
little, ugh,
So
myself.
let's go back up that little hill, and off to your left, there's a little attraction called the Tower of Terror, the Hollywood Tower of
Twilight
Terror.
Zone Tower of Terror.
There you go. You are the map. Thank you for helping me out.
Mm-hmm. I love it. That's probably my favorite attraction, Hollywood Studios. It's just, and it goes from start to finish. I mean, I love the queue for that one. It just gets you in a creepy mood, like right from the jump. And that's another one that they talk about. On our last episode, we had mentioned the show Behind the Attraction that's now out on Disney Plus. No, Disney is not sponsoring this podcast. They have no idea who we are.
If they want to, though, we're willing to listen.
Right. We can talk contracts. Anyway, the Tower of Terror is another one of the episodes in that show. And so it talks about the science and the development and all of that behind the ride, which is amazing. But I don't know. It's just, it's another one of those that, yeah, it's a must do for me, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I love that ride. That one surprised me also. I didn't know that we would get to like go through, I don't know how to explain it, but like move forward. And then I just love droppy rides. They're my favorite kind of rides. But I was not expecting that. And I love that ride too. That one is really fun. And it would be amazing at night.
Yes, it would.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know, here's a bit of Disney trivia for you. Did you know that the drops are random?
Yes, I did know that. Yes, and that makes it more fun. So when you go on it over and over and over, definitely I would do that.
Yeah,
But,
it won't be the same ride twice.
yeah, exactly.
Here's another bit of random trivia. Again, Disney Plus is not sponsoring us. Did you know that that's not actually a drop?
No, I didn't know that.
They're pulling you down.
Who was pulling us down?
They.
The Twilight Zone.
Oh my God.
But when they were building that ride, they figured out that gravity would not drop you fast enough to make it a thrilling ride. Exactly. You would move too slowly until you hit a spot where then they had to stop you. So instead, it's on a pulley system where they pull you down, and then they pull you back up, then they pull you down, and then they pull you back up.
You know what, though? That makes me also feel 10 times better.
That you're not just on a free fall?
Yeah. Because, well, I never knew how they did those rides. All I knew was that, you just drop and, like, you never know what's going to happen. It's all just up to luck, I guess. But
What?
no, just kidding. But that's interesting. I did not know that. So.
My first time on that ride, I punched Candace in the face.
It's a true story.
And again, if we may have pictures of that we can share on the
We do.
Instagram page too. But we were joking before we started recording today that when I go on rides, I like to feel like a badass. So I'll raise one hand, but the other one's holding on. This picture I have, I don't get to see my face full on at the first drop when they take the picture, because during that first drop, I threw my hand up. And Candace was sitting next to me, and I hit Candace in the side of the head. So the pictures of me turned towards her, making sure that I didn't knock my wife out in the process of falling in this ride. She's just laughing. Both hands are in the air.
No, I've got a hold of your arm because I didn't want you to hit me again.
Wait, did they have, how you can go back on with your pictures and they, like, have a little show of it?
Uh-huh.
Did they have the slow motion edit? Because I know that one's in slow motion when everybody's raising their hands.
I don't think so. I think that was before.
Dang.
We'll have to look.
Yeah.
Because that would have been so funny if and then Scott's like,
We will have to look, because we probably do it if we have that video, because we had the Magic Maker.
Mm-hmm. Memory maker.
Mm-hmm. She is the map, ladies and gentlemen. So, what was your opinion of the Tower of Terror, Lacey?
I thought it was fun. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as all of you did, and I'm really disappointed in that, but I think it was because of our whole situation waiting in line when we did, because the ride kept on breaking down, and we were just in the, like, boiler room part for far too long, and I was just kind of getting, like, I'm not a big fan of caves or basements or anything like that, so I was kind of getting the feeling like, this is not worth it, I just want to go. But I enjoyed the ride. I thought it was fun. I just think for myself, next time that I go, it would have to be a fast pass where I'm not waiting in line, because I feel like we were in line for a good 30 minutes at the very least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was also like I didn't know if we were going to be able to ride it or not, just because they would announce one elevator was broken down and then both of them were down, and then it just felt like it was never ending. So, but the ride itself was really fun. I had a great time. It was worth it, but then again, I don't know if I would wait in line as long again. But so I don't know. I feel like without that, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. And it bums me out because I've been so excited for that ride. So.
Ooh.
Okay, so then we go back down Hollywood Boulevard, get back out into the open. You go to the right. I'm just trying to picture where you go. Let's go back to Muppets. So there's Muppet Vision 3D back there. Is that the only ride back there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you two probably didn't go to that show, right? That's a super cute show too.
It's a 3D attraction where the Muppets are having an adventure, and I mean, it just goes into complete chaos at the end, like most Muppet things do. It's dated. It
Mhm.
needs to be updated. But the area that it's in is really cute. They've got it themed out with some really cute things, like the Miss Piggy fountain where she's dressed up like Statue of Liberty. And if you look up at the clock tower, Gonzo is hanging from one of the clock hands and that kind of thing. And then Pizza Rizzo is over there. It's a nice, quiet little section of the park. And it brings back memories because the Muppet Show was on when we were kids.
Okay, yeah.
And Sesame
That's
Street.
nice.
So.
Yeah, for sure. So that's the only thing back there.
Mm-hmm.
Star Tours is also
Oh.
in Hollywood Studios. I've never been. Candace is probably the only one in this room that's been on Star Tours, right?
Yeah.
And you don't like that one because it's jerky.
Yeah, it's basically a flight simulator where a droid, voiced by the voice of Pee Wee Herman, by the way.
Odd. Okay.
Yep. He's on his first solo flight that he's flying you around. So it's really jerky because he doesn't know what he's doing, and like it's just.
And he flies into the middle of a battle too, right?
Yeah, and a meteor shower and all kinds of other stuff. So it's me not liking jerky rides. I think it's stupid. I think the premise is stupid. The ride itself is just not something that I ever need to do again.
What rides are we forgetting before we get into the two new lands?
Well, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but the Great Movie Ride.
Yeah, we sure can. We can go back to some of the old school ones that aren't there. I don't think I ever went on the Great Movie Ride either.
No.
So again, a Candace only attraction. What did you love so much about the Great Movie Ride?
The thing I love the most about the Great Movie Ride is just, once again, the attention to detail. Like for the Wizard of Oz scene, the animatronics that they used actually looked like the characters from the movie. So Margaret Hamilton, who played the Wicked Witch of the West, her animatronic was there, and it showed up in a puff of smoke in the Emerald City. It looked like her standing there. And at the end of it, there was John Wayne sitting on a horse. And it looked like John Wayne sitting on a horse. I mean, it was so realistic. There was a story that kind of went along with it. Like you were taking this Hollywood tour and seeing all this stuff. And then all of a sudden your buggy would be like carjacked, for lack of a better word, by a gangster. And so your tour guide would be kidnapped by the gangsters. And so you'd be like taken hostage. And it was really cheesy and kind of stupid, but it was so much fun at the same time. And then at the end, of course, the good guy saves the day. And it was very Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
But it was an amazing ride. And like one of the parts that I did not appreciate was they did a segment from the movie Alien. Where they had like the grates on the inside of the ship. And then there was, like, stuff moving up above, and there was, like, growling and all kinds of stuff. And then, like, stuff would drip on you.
Oh, no.
And it was, I mean, I think it was water or something.
Let's hope.
I think. But it was just gross. I'm like, can we please not? Let's just go. Can I get out and push or something? It was so
let's go. Come on. I've had enough.
Yeah. But it was just really amazing. And going into the Chinese theater building and all of that. And there were like 2 iterations of the ride where there was the original, and then they split it into 2 different adventures. So, but it was perfectly placed for where it was in the park because it celebrated classic Hollywood.
Cool. Okay, so let's go into Toy Story Land. None of us have ridden Slinky Dog Dash, right?
Unfortunately.
Because
not.
anytime I've been there, the wait's been like 200 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And we couldn't get fast passes for it.
Mhm.
And as much fun as that ride looks, we never had the time to wait 200 minutes. And you just, at some point on a Disney vacation, you have to make the decision about, okay, that's not where I want to spend my time. And that's okay. But the theming of that land, and then Midway Mania is over there. Did you guys go on Alien Swirling Saucers?
Yes,
Yes.
we did.
That
so
one-
much fun.
In what was it,
fun.
last episode where we were talking about underrated
Yes.
rides? That is another, in my opinion, underrated ride.
I
That
agree.
is so much fun.
Yeah, I felt submersed. I don't know what your experience was, but I felt like I was in like some sort of Pizza Planet type of place when you're there. The theming for that ride just makes it. It was a last minute thing for
Mhm.
us where we're like, I think it was like 30-minute wait or something, which that usually means it's like probably 20 to 25
Right.
minutes. And yeah, it was just fun. It was just a fun little, ride. And yeah, I love Toy Story Land too.
Yeah, and that ride is one of those, you think about the theming, that's an outdoor attraction.
Mm-hmm.
And the theming still completely pulls you away from your surroundings. I don't know how Disney Imagineers do it, but they are damn good at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
It's magic.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's magic. It isn't Zurg isn't he outside of that ride?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Is it Zurg or is it Buzz?
No.
Is it Zurg?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Buzz is only for like I don't know if Zurg moves or talks.
He does not.
No.
He's
Okay.
a part of that attraction.
Okay. And then Buzz is at the oh man, I'm blanking. In Tomorrowland, the shooter Space Ranger.
Yeah, Space Ranger spin.
Yeah. Isn't he standing out there?
He's not outside of it. He's in the queue line.
There we
And
go.
he's actually talking there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, again, Midway Mania is my favorite ride in all of Hollywood Studios by far.
I could just. Okay, so. Gotta get my words working here. I'm one of those odd people that can go to Disney and not go on a single solitary ride and be perfectly happy being there. Because for me, it's all about the details. It's all about the theming. It's all about the music, which I know we've talked about before. But that land specifically, with the Christmas lights and the giant pencils, and then when you're coming out of Midway Mania, the fence made of popsicle sticks where you can see the stain from the popsicle on the stick, and like the big wheels of Baby Bell cheese that are everywhere. And like when I was there for Disney Institute, it was around the holiday times. So they had a great big like sugar cookie decorated like ham.
Oh my god.
And it was so cute. And we can put that up on our Instagram if you want. But yeah, it's just the details that I just sit there and I'm like, goodness gracious. I love it. And that land specifically is super immersive because of all those little details.
Yeah, and I agree 100% about that, and that's actually a really good segue into Galaxy's Edge. I was blown away with how immersive Galaxy's Edge is. You leave either Muppet Land or what is it called?
It's fine.
Whatever, the Muppets area or Toy Story Land to get into Galaxy's Edge, and instantly you are transported to Batuu. I was blown away walking in there of how immersive it was and how you literally felt like you were on a different planet. It was amazing how well they did.
even the bathrooms.
Yeah.
When we use, like, that's kind of, like, silly to say, I guess.
No, Disney
but,
bathrooms are amazing.
Well,
Yeah.
they are phenomenal. But even going in there, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
This is, like, it felt like you were on a spaceship.
Yeah.
Going in just to use the potty.
And the potty. The toilet. I'm gonna go to use the toilet. I don't love Star Wars. I like it a lot. I've seen each movie up to Force Awakens one time, except for Force Awakens I've watched probably like 20 times. I love that movie for some reason. But so this is coming from someone who isn't the biggest Star Wars fan. I can't tell you all the character names or anything like that. I thought it was amazing there. Like Scott said, the theming of it, you are transported into that world, and it was a lot of fun, and I would like to spend a lot more time in that area.
Yeah, even though we talked a little bit ago about maybe it was even the last episode, I'm losing track, about how maybe disappointing that Smuggler's Run was. And we were there before
Rise of the
Resistance opened, so we don't have any experience with that. But even with as disappointing as that ride was, I think for all of us, being there with the Millennium Falcon, and Lacey, talk a little bit about the blue and the green milk.
Oh, yeah. So if you haven't heard, they have these two plant-based milks, using air quotes here because it's not actual milk. And it's more of a slushy-ish sort of beverage. And there's a blue and a green. I think I preferred the green. I'm not sure about the flavors. I don't think they really explain the flavors. It's just called blue milk, green milk. And I think you can get them with alcohol in them. But their foods and drinks are just so on theme. Like they have this popcorn there too that's purple and red, and it's supposed to be a sweet spicy, I can't remember what it's called, but it's some sort of kettle corn that is a little bit spicy, and it's just fun. So another thing about Galaxy's Edge that I really like, and also in Toy Story Land, is that a lot of the characters walk around, and you don't really see that a lot, where you'll just see like Kylo Ren walking or Chewbacca walking around. And I think that's another cool part that you don't really see a lot of in Magic Kingdom, you know? So
it's the Outpost popcorn mix.
Okay.
That you're talking about.
Yep, that is on my list for things to try when we go back. It looks really good.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I didn't get to go with you guys. Well, I didn't choose to go with you guys because that was one of those mornings where I'm just like, I need some time to regroup and rest a little bit. And so I am sad that I didn't go over there with you. So I'm looking forward to experiencing everything. But in true foodie fashion, I am so looking forward to having a Ronto wrap.
They make a plant-based version of that too.
Yeah.
So yes, I am also.
They also
looking
make a
forward to
breakfast one.
Wow.
That's the one I actually want to try. It's
Yeah.
the breakfast one.
Because doesn't it have like a fried egg on?
It's got eggs and then the sausage and then some other potatoes maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just looks amazing.
Oh my gosh.
So we would be remiss. We're going to go a little long with this episode, but we'd be remiss about talking about one of these theme parks if we didn't talk about the food.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have a lot of experience with restaurants, but we do have experience with some of the snacks, with like the blue and the green milk. Candace and I have eaten at the Hollywood Brown Derby. We've all eaten at 50's Primetime Cafe.
I've eaten at Sci-Fi.
Candace has eaten at the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater. What is your... This may be some duplicate from a previous episode, but what's your favorite food at Hollywood Studios? Not restaurant food.
Honestly, it's the fried cheese appetizer, the herb cheese at 50's Primetime.
That's good.
It's a little fried circle of Boursin cheese that's served with a baguette and some raspberry sauce and some grapes, and it is just perfect.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I just think about that donut a lot
With
Oh.
And I
Jeffrey's
know,
donut.
yeah, I know it's not, or probably not just exclusive at Hollywood Studios, but yeah.
It just kind
I
of hit
just-
the spot that day. Like we just come off a Tower of Terror. We're like, we're hungry, but we're not uber hungry.
Mhm.
Let's get something we can split it. Those donuts look as big as Lariah's head. Let's split one of those.
It was large.
Large.
I don't know. We didn't really snack a whole lot. I guess at 50's prime time, I really liked. They had this lentil kale plant bowl thing. It's their vegan option, and it was actually really refreshing to eat it because it just was full of like kale and lentils and just felt really healthy. And we went to Hollywood Studios near the end of our whole trip, and I feel like we ate a lot of heavy, rich foods. So eating that was it was a refreshing meal. So, but I have a list of stuff that I want to try, like at Woody's Lunchbox and at
Mhm.
Galaxy's
Mhm.
Edge, and I'm really excited to try some stuff when we go back.
Yeah, agreed. I think there's a lot of really good food over there.
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite food, it's peanut butter and jelly milkshake from 50's Primetime was delicious. I would call that out as probably my favorite. And I love all the food at 50's Primetime. It's food like Grandma used to make.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you go wrong with food that reminds you, okay, I'm turning into Anton Ego. But how can you go wrong with things that when you take a bite of it is a throwback to when you were 8 years old? It's just, that kind of memory making with food is phenomenal. So that peanut butter and jelly milkshake that they serve at 50's Primetime is delicious.
So speaking of our experience at Hollywood Brown Derby, what was your thought?
I think Hollywood Brown Derby, and maybe it was just an off day there because I've heard lots of good things about it. I think it was a little overrated. The salad that everybody always talks about, the chopped salad,
The Cobb salad.
the Cobb salad that they have was good. You can get that same salad at almost every hotel that you go visit has a version of a Cobb salad that's probably just as good. And the steak that I had, again, it was lunch. It was late in our trip. We had already eaten a lot of food. It was hot. So it could have just been an off day. And if I had I'd go back again to try it again. I always like to give a place more than one try. But I think it was just a little overrated from everything that I had read going into it. So maybe my expectations were just too high.
Well, that, and I mean, we were on the Disney Deluxe dining plan. And I think when you are a restaurant and you consider yourself a signature restaurant and you're charging diners 2 table service credits a person to eat someplace, in my opinion, the food needs to be otherworldly, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And that was not my experience. The food was good, but it wasn't like I got to go back there every single time.
Mm-hmm.
The service was amazing. But again, that's Disney service. But I mean, the food I could take or leave. If I really needed to have something from Brown Derby, I would probably go to the lounge outside
Mm-hmm.
and order from the lounge because you don't need reservations. They've got seating outside, and you can order pretty much whatever you want.
Yeah, you can get the full menu out there, can't you?
Yeah. So I would go do that rather than doing the actual sit down experience again. Although the inside of the restaurant is really cool.
Yeah, agreed. So as we wrap this one up, one more question that I have for the group is there something at Hollywood Studios food-wise? Lacey, you mentioned that there's some things that you want to try.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that you're most looking forward to or something that's on the top of your list to try next time we go?
Probably the vegan tachos from
Woody's Lunchbox.
Woody's Lunchbox. Thank you. Yeah, those look really good.
I just want to eat that Ronto wrap.
Mm-hmm.
The vegan one?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. The vegan one.
Candace, what about you?
Yeah, I think the Ronto wrap, and specifically the breakfast Ronto wrap, because that's what I want. Breakfast is kind of my jam.
Yeah. For me, the thing that I want to try is the Baseline Tap House. Their beer flight and like a pretzel with like a huge pretzel with mustard and cheese and all the different dipping things. I really want to take the time to go hang out at Baseline Tap House and try that. I'm being looked at like they didn't know that existed.
No, but also
I didn't.
I'm going to kind of domino off of that and say, to add to my list, I want to try the boozy blue and green milk.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, because they just do a rum floater on it, don't they?
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
How can you go wrong with rum?
You can't.
Unless you do too much in the hot. Then you'll meet your good friend Ralph.
And on that note, let's wrap up our journey at Hollywood Studios. We bring it all around full
That's
circle.
right, that's right.
That's right where we're at. So again, thank you all so much for listening in. We appreciate you. Again, check us out at our Instagram page, Hanging at the Hangar Bar. We enjoy having you interact with us. Let us know what you think we should be talking about. And just remember, there's always a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
See you real soon.